and listen to me speak. I really appreciate it, so first and foremost. So it's been a long journey, and one thing I'm fascinated by is it a little bit closer?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys lied to me. You lied to me. We're off to a good start. So one thing I'm fascinated by is the journey. The journey is everything, and we need to think of our nutrition the same way. And I see a natural progression that happens. So like if you see my Instagram page, most of you know me from my Instagram page. You see a lot of food that is very appealing. It looks like a cheat meal page, and you look like you could never, ever eat this and reach your goals. But in reality, my page is the result of 6 years of learning, trial and error. Me being so difficult on myself, me being my biggest critic, me not understanding why, me seeing myself as a victim and not understanding why can't I reach my goals? Why can't I do this? And it's been a long progression. So before I even start, I want you guys to have the sympathy, the empathy for yourself, and know that you're gonna learn a lot along the way. And my journey started when I was 20 years old. I'm 26 today, and in 6 long but very short years, I have the nutritional understanding that lasts a lifetime. And that is playing the short game and the long game. So when you do look at my page, know that it's been through trial and error, that I'm able to enjoy the foods I love, but I take that so I can expedite that and share it with everybody else. And so I want to take you guys on a little bit of a journey, because it makes sense more whenever I talk about where I came from to where I am now. So this is going to show you what is possible. So believe it or not, 6 years ago, I was actually in college. I was a sophomore. I was playing Division II college basketball. Yeah, I played college basketball. I'm like 5'8", like all my best friends growing up were all 6'9". I didn't feel normal until I went to my first Fitness Expo a year and a half ago. I thought I was just the shortest person in the world. But when I came to one of these, I'm like, I'm normal. But during that year, my sophomore year, training injury. So you have this big tendon in your hip called your iliopsoas tendon. It's like the filet mignon steak of your body. And I tore that. I caught a rebound, I went to take off, and it's associated with bringing your knee to your chest. And right when I went to take off, I went here and then I extended back. I felt like a gunshot pop in my hip. And my career was over just like that. So to that point, I was known as Zach the basketball player my whole life. And I was in a wheelchair for a month after I had surgery. I didn't run for over a year. And so I had a lot of time to reflect. And the initial thoughts that went into my head was, why me? Why me? I'm the victim. Feel bad for me. Why? But then a mentor of mine told me, he's like, Zach, all these things happen in your life for a reason. There's a silver lining to why all these things happen. And you need to see that. He's like, well, maybe this is God telling you that you need to use this as an opportunity to learn from it and share it and help other people not have to go through what you went through. And so I thought, okay, that makes sense. And so then I read a book by Simon Sinek called Start With Why, which is an amazing book, and I needed to figure out my why. And so fast forward, I started learning. I was an economics major. I graduated with a degree in economics. I had no nutritional study background up until I was 20, but then on the side, because of my own selfish reasons, because I wanted to learn how to fix myself, I learned about anatomy, physiology, strength training, mobility, nutrition, sleep, all these performance markers, so I could improve the quality of my life. But then as a byproduct, I started sharing it with other people. But there was just something funny. I always was gravitated towards nutrition. Food was just fun. Like it was just something that we all needed to eat. We all had to eat, no matter what. There's all these constants in our lives, no matter what we do, but we always have to eat. And that was something that was always there. And I was fascinated by that. And so I started learning more and more about nutrition. But just like most people, you start with clean eating. The clean eating idea of food. And it worked really well for a while. So my definition of clean eating, a lot of people say there's no such thing as clean or dirty foods. I think there is a difference. Clean foods are minimally processed, nutrient dense, micronutrient dense foods that provide a large nutritional value. They check off the box they provide a lot of high volume foods too. So you can eat a lot of them for a very little amount of calories. And they check off the box of keeping you full. They check off the box of providing micronutrients. They check off a lot of boxes. But one thing they don't check off is your relationship with food. So it creates this good or bad mentality. It's either you win or you lose. It becomes binary. It's a win or lose prophecy. So if you eat a food that is not considered clean, you lost. So then what happens is when you lose, oh, well, I lost. I might as well just get it out of my system. So then the restrict, so like I became antisocial. I didn't go out. I didn't know how to navigate those social situations. So over time, my relationship with food got worse and worse and worse. This restrict, binge cycle happened for over a year. And I just thought it was normal. I thought it was normal for the longest time. And then it got to a point where I was like, this isn't normal. Like, why can't I not go overindulge on something? And it was constantly that feeling like, oh, I gotta get it out of my system. And I'll never forget this moment. And I'm being completely candid with you guys because it's something that's changed my life. I remember it would get to a point where I would eat clean, but then it would get to where I would lose my will. I would lose my will to stay with that clean eating mindset. And I'd wake up that morning like, yep, I'm cheating today. And I would go to the grocery store, and in the back of my head, I was like, oh, I'm getting it out of my system. And I would get all the foods that I craved. And I remember leaving one time, and I'd forgotten one food that I was craving that I was gonna get out of my system. It was the scariest feeling in my heart. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, I almost forgot that. And I was like, whoa, I was like, this isn't good. Like, this isn't good at all. And so I went back to my where I came from, what I learned about nutrition, and I really dove deeper. I realized that my knowledge in nutrition was very surface level. I needed to go deeper and really understand the why behind nutrition, not the what and the how. The what and the how is telling me what I eat and how I eat it. The why is really, why do those things actually work? Why do I eat these and why do I get results? And that's when I started learning about calories in versus calories out and macronutrients. And so that's when it started to go deeper. But what happened was it went to the other extreme. The other extreme happened. So I became so focused on calories in versus calories out and macronutrients that another side of disordered eating came in. I was only focused on those. And so what would happen was that I would focus on hitting my macros over everything. Over everything. I went from eating none of the foods that were off limits to all of them. I would try and fit in as many of them into my macros as possible because I was able to now. And I would neglect the more clean, nutritious foods, and so there wasn't any balance. But anybody, and I don't have a lot of time to teach about macros, but know that macros are your proteins, your carbs, and your fats. And if you look at any nutritional label, those are the numbers on the back that make up calories. That's the nutritional label if you look at it. And so what I teach is everybody has a unique amount of macronutrients that you need to be taking in on a daily basis. And I can't go into too much detail, but know that we all have our own nutritional budget. And I became so overly focused on that. And I would so with these foods that I would fit in, they wouldn't fit very well. So what I noticed was whenever I would fit them in, they wouldn't keep me full. I would fit them in, but then I was hungry around these foods. And what would happen was either I would suffer or I would binge again because I was hungry. And it wasn't until I reverse engineered where I was coming from that I was like, okay, what if I track my macros, but I did it with how I did before when I was eating my clean foods? And so I tried for 3 to 4 months where I ate clean. I tracked my macros. And I was like, I was like, I still have the cravings that I had before. I'm hitting my macros, but I'm full. But I'm not tackling those cravings. So then I really found balance when I started doing something called flexible dieting. It was a balance of everything. I focused on 80% clean. I knew that I needed to hit my macros in order to reach my goals, but I did not restrict myself from a 20% being able to fit in the foods I love, the foods that tackle those cravings. And that's when the true balance came in. That's when flexible dieting came in. But it keeps evolving. So what would happen is, if any of you have ever gone on a diet before and you cut or you're trying to lose weight, your calories get lower. And that means when you're tracking your macros get lower. And what I noticed was whenever you do diet for long periods of time, your food choices actually get smaller because you want to stay full. You don't want to be hungry. The worst feeling in the world is being hungry when you're dieting. And so what I noticed was the ratios would go off. It would actually end up having to be 100% clean because the quote-unquote foods that were not clean didn't fit very well. So that is when you see my actual Instagram page, that was me being selfish because I was struggling. Because I needed recipes, I needed foods to check off those cravings so I could still reach my goals. And it's just been such a long, fun journey because it's always this challenge. And I remember when I first started making my own recipes, it wasn't that smooth. It was terrible. I was awful. And on the surface level, when you look at it, it looks like it was like I've been my whole life. I have no culinary background. I'm self-taught. And it was just me being selfish, trying to learn on my own how to do this. And that's the biggest thing I want people to know is my journey is no different than you guys'. I struggle on a daily basis. But I'm just trying to solve a selfish problem and then share that with the world. And so my biggest thing was I need to be able to tackle these cravings. So with Pop-Tarts, with cupcakes, with cookies and everything like that, whenever I searched online, I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find anything that would or I would try it and it didn't work out very well. It didn't taste very well. It didn't really fill me up. And so what I did? I went back to, I needed to figure out the why. And so the why behind recipes was understanding the ingredients that I was using, the food science behind them, and how to actually substitute certain ingredients in order to improve the macronutrient profile. And I started playing around with it, and before I knew it, fast forward to today, I've created over 1,000 recipes that have given me an opportunity to travel the world and share them and be able to do what I love on a daily basis. So the biggest thing today is to know that nutrition is a journey. And with anything in your life, you want to understand the why behind it, not the what and the how. And why I teach flexible dieting is a sense of you're learning the why behind nutrition. It's not like a meal, and there's nothing against meal plans, but you're learning how to navigate life. You're learning, so the what and the how teaches you, okay, I eat this food, I get this result. But the why is teaching you, why do you eat this food and why does it get you that result? So I know how to create the perfect diet for me. So for example, you'll understand, why does keto work? Why does paleo work? Why does going low carb work? Why do all of these diets work? And be able to take a little bit from each one of them, plug them into your own diet, and create the perfect diet for you. Because we can get results very easily. We all know how. We restrict ourselves. But how do you keep those results? And that's the biggest thing. I want people to think sustainability. Sustainability over everything. And it's a beautiful thing because I saw myself become so food focused and now I'm not. I know how to navigate I know how to walk around this and still stay on track. I know how to travel and still stay on track. When I do have kids, I know whenever I take my kid out to get an ice cream cone, I know how that ice cream cone fits into my diet. And I'll be able to smile in front of my kid and say, yes, we're going to enjoy this ice cream cone together. And they're not going to have a negative relationship with food. And it's just truly amazing. So my whole goal today is I just wanted you guys to have an open mind, because nutrition is becoming more religion than actual anything else. People are arguing rather than having an open mind about a lot of things. I don't want to have a religious argument about nutrition, whether keto is better, whether anything is better, whether being vegan is better. I don't want to have that. I want to have a debate on what's the perfect diet for you. What do you like about vegan? What do you not like? What do you like about the keto diet? What do you not like? What are your 3 to 5 favorite foods? How can you recreate them in a macro-friendly way so you can fit them in on a daily basis and not have that urge to binge? What's the best time for you to eat? Is 6 meals a day good for you? I don't know. Is 3 better? Or is 2 better? Or is skipping breakfast better for you? What creates adherence and long-term sustainability with your diet? So my goal today with this talk was just to get you guys to think deeper about your nutrition. Think of selfishly. Selfishly think of yourself as your own guinea pig. That you are unique. You have unique demands. A one-size-fits-all diet is not going to fit for you. It's not going to work. There's going to be moments where you don't have the answer, but know that there is an answer. And that is why I teach flexible dieting, because it gives you the flexibility to eat the foods you love, learn how to navigate your life, and live the life you desire. And that's truly what it's all about. And I kind of want to open it up for any type of Q&A if you guys have any right now. I don't know where Nina is, but I don't know how much time I have left, but if any of you guys have questions, I'd be more than happy to answer any of them. Just, I guess, raise your hand and we'll go from there. How are you, Mama? You good? You want? Okay, so she asked, how do I think social media helps me with reaching my anyone's nutritional goals? Okay, so social media gives us an opportunity now to share information at scale. So before social media, we were subject to whoever had the ability to tell everybody. They were the ones telling everybody what you need to know. So the local news stations or the newspapers or anything like that. Whoever had the ability to tell the story were the ones that were actually figuring out who's going to tell the story. But with social media, it gives us a choice. We choose. Television's dying. It's dying. We can choose. I can choose to follow whoever I want. I can choose whatever I want. I can choose what content I want to create. So my biggest thing is, with my social media platform, I don't want anybody ever thinking that I'm telling them what to do. Because when you tell somebody what you think they want to do, like you're telling them, hey, you need to do this, automatically our inclination is we don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Just like with our parents, like they tell us we can't do something, we end up doing it anyways. That's it. So my biggest thing is I want to teach you the why behind nutrition. Because once you understand the why, you can selfishly make the decision for yourself, what is best for you. But the moment you are looking at a diet and you don't understand why it works, you're only looking at what and how they're making you get a result, is the moment that diet is going to be the bottleneck. You will have to stay on that diet the rest of your life, or your results will be temporary. And so my answer to that question is social media plays a huge role, because without social media, I'd have to be calling CNN and ABC and all these big platforms that have big audiences to get my message out. And I probably would have never gotten through. And that's the beauty and the power of it. I'm so blessed to have social media because I can be transparent. I can use my story as a way to share something that I'm so passionate about and actually change somebody's life. And walking around this expo and getting stopped and just shaking people's hands and having them smile and say that I've affected them in a positive way, it's everything. It's the reason why I get up in the morning, every single morning. It's what motivates me. So thank you, that was an awesome question. Anybody? Anybody? No questions. All right, so that question was, what was the biggest question with growing my social media? So creativity is the variable. That's one thing you're gonna notice. Like, I could be super tactical, talk about hashtags, talk about all the time to post, collaborations, all these different things. But in reality, creative is the variable. The one question I would say to ask yourself is, why would I follow you? Why would I follow you? So that's the biggest thing you gotta ask yourself and be super about. If you can't answer that question, how is somebody else gonna answer that question? So that's gonna be the biggest thing. And then some tactical things to look at is, okay, once you understand that why would I follow you, you look and see if your content matches that. So if your content matches that, so if I go to your page, I'm looking at your first 9 posts, and I'm looking at, okay, what is this girl about? What's her why? What's her page? What value, this is the biggest thing, what value am I getting from your page? That's the biggest thing you gotta be able to answer. And so that would be your first step, is I would say reading the book Start With Why by Simon Sinek is like an amazing book, just for your life in general, but understanding your page has a why. And you gotta think of, why would somebody selfishly follow you? Why would somebody give you their most powerful resource, which is their time, by following you and consuming your content? And so that's going to be the biggest thing, is making anybody that would follow you the most important person in the world. That's everything. That's everything. So like, people ask me, Zach, why do you answer all your DMs? Why do you answer all your comments? Because I wouldn't have any of this if it wasn't for anybody that followed me. I'm so damn grateful. I'm grateful. And why do I spend a lot of money to build a team around me to where I can do that stuff and I can focus on that? Because I'm freaking grateful. I'm so grateful. So that would be the biggest thing, is this consistency, creativity, and answering that why for your page. What's the name of the book? Oh yeah. Yes. What's the name of the book? It's Start With Why by Simon Sinek. It's an amazing book. It's an amazing book. It changed my life. I read that when I was 20 or 21 years old. It just shifted the way I saw the world. People don't buy what or how you do something, they buy why you do it. It's so true anywhere you go. Anywhere you go. Just think about why you buy Apple products. You don't buy them because you understand the specs of the computer or how the computer is made. You buy it because you like the why behind Apple. They're always challenging the status quo. You walk around and you pull out your computer, you use Apple products. Like, you're different. You challenge the status quo, and that's what it's all about. So that's like one thing that I would take from that, is just you truly become in tune with who you are and what truly makes you happy. Like, what truly, money does not make us, in reality, money doesn't make us happy. It's the result of what money can do for us. And a lot of times, we don't need to make that much money to be happy. We just think it, we think we do. So, awesome. Any other questions? I think I have time for like one more.
You mentioned the 80-20. How is it that you track, like, what does 20 look like based on like foods that you love and how you integrate them?
Absolutely. Okay, so the question was, okay, so how do you track 80-20? Okay, so 80% high quality, nutrient dense, minimally processed foods that provide a lot of nutritional value. 20% are the foods that, so 20% would be the foods that you think don't fit very well. That makes sense. So like, it's obvious. Don't like, I don't want people to overthink it. When we overthink it, we lose. And then that causes stress. And stress is the worst thing. I would rather somebody go 80-20 than 100% zero and have less stress than 100% zero and have a lot more stress. Stress is what really, bad stress is what kills us. That's what's killing us. Good stress is good. Bad stress, not so much. So I would say it's obvious. Like, don't overdo it. Just know that most of the time, you're gonna eat high quality, nutrient-dense foods. Don't be like, oh, what's the specific definition? Just go with what you think. And then 20% of the time, you know. We all know. The moment we try and say we don't know, we're lying. We know. We're just trying to overcomplicate it. So, absolutely. Do we have any more questions? If that's it, oh, we got one more.
Do you do a high fat day, and if you do, when? And why would you do it? Yeah, why do you do it?
Okay. So the question was, do I implement a higher fat day anytime? So this is a really good question. So I personally do every once in a while. I've noticed that if I'm not training, I do not. Carbs are an energy source. That's what we need to see them for high intensity exercise to fuel our training. Fats are more slow digesting. They're more satiating for some people, but they're slower digesting. And they don't go through the same process that carbohydrates do. They're not as readily available. So thus, the chances of them, we just don't need as much carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is more easily stored as body fat when we're not training as much. So a higher fat day for me actually does work well on a non-training day. It actually helps me stay clear in my head. I don't get that lethargic feeling from too much carbohydrate, and it just works well. But the moment when you're first starting to track your macros and you're focusing on that, you're doing it wrong. So if you're starting to track your macros, don't worry about high fat days, low carb days, cycling things. Focus on consistently hitting your macros on a daily basis for like 3 to 6 months. That's the biggest thing. That's the 95%, 97%. That whether you're eating a higher fat or a higher carb day is like the 2 to 3%, to be completely honest. So it's all about asking yourself, what's sustainable? What foods do I love? What are the macronutrients of those foods? And then making sure you're getting enough dietary fat in for your hormone levels, etc. So just don't overcomplicate it. I mean, it'll give you some benefit, but in reality, it's very small in the long run. But it's a good question. So, so we're good. So I just want to thank you guys all for coming. Like, this was super cool. Oh, you got another? What's the book that I talked about? Okay, it's Start With Why by Simon Sinek. So Simon better give me a freaking commission on this. But I just want to thank all of you guys for coming out. This is super cool, super fun being able to share my story and have a platform like this. And more importantly, you guys taking your time out of this busy expo and sitting here and listening to me talk. So just know that I'm super grateful. And if you guys all shoot me a DM and let me know that you come. We have a special deal that we're doing for everybody that came and sat here. Like, I'm super grateful for each and every one of you. So if you guys follow me on Instagram, my Instagram account is The Flexible Dieting Lifestyle. So if you follow me, shoot me a DM. Let me know that you guys sat through this, and let me know like something. What was your favorite part of the talk? And I'm gonna hook you up with something special. So just want to say thank you guys so much, and God bless.